Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be going over a quite controversial topic to try to clear up some of the nonsense going around about 22 ammunition. A lot of people think that there is a bunch of conspiracies going on behind why you can't walk into stores and just pick up 22 ammo like you used to. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is the end-all, be-all reason, but this is definitely my view, as I've seen a lot of different stores, and I've been watching this trend for a couple years now, and here's what I think is really going on. I've done a lot of research, and from what I can see, based on statements from various ammunition manufacturers, the government is not buying all the 22 ammunition that they're making. According to what they're saying to us, they're saying that the government does buy ammo from them, but only enough to fulfill their contractual obligations, and that the majority of all their sales is to the public. So, that right there shows that the manufacturers are saying that the government does buy from them, but the majority of their sales comes from us, the public. To me, obviously, they could easily put whatever they want on there, but I mean, it wouldn't be very good on their behalf to lie to their customers, and I really don't think there's any need for the government to buy a ton of ammo like that, but then again, you never really know. But my personal thought is the government is not buying all the 22 long rifle ammo. Okay, so the next point I want to get to is there is no lead shortage for 22 manufacturers. I know there is probably a bunch of videos around talking about how the main lead smelting plant in the United States was closed, and that was an attempt to try to limit ammunition manufacturing and stuff like that. But, again, from research that I've done from various manufacturers, they say that they do not have a lead shortage problem. The main problem that these manufacturers are having is that they are at full capacity. And what you have to realize is that ammunition has not always been this high of a demand. So these companies that used to put out, so many millions of rounds a day, that was their normal. Well, the thing is, this is also just a trend. I mean, ammunition prices and sales are not always going to remain as high as they are. Now, it's possible that they could, but eventually it's going to taper off a little bit, and that means that the manufacturers will have less work to do. So right now they're at full capacity, making as much as they can, and if they go out and build another 2, 3, 4, 5 factories, then yeah, they could keep up with the demand and put out a ton of product right now. But what happens a few years down the road if things start to slow down? Then all these extra factories are wasted and they start losing money. So for them, it's kind of a risk-reward sort of system. If they build these new plants, they could keep up with the demand right now and make more money, but then later on down the road, it could hurt them and they could, lose their business altogether. So that's, the main reasons. They are making as much ammo as they can, but there's just such a high demand that, they can't make any more, and they're, probably afraid to open new plants because eventually, like I said, if things slow down, it could be very bad for them. So that's number 2. And number 3 is the myth that hoarders are taking all the ammunition and just stockpiling it up, and they're getting just tons of ammo, and they're the main reason why you're not able to find it in stores. And, I just wanted to say that even though it sounds like it could very well be the case, I do not believe it is, because most stores that you go to, even most websites and everything, all have limits on the number of boxes you can purchase. Usually online, if it's a 50-pack box, you might be limited to 5 or 10. If you get lucky, normally most stores are either 1 or 2. And then same thing, even if you get into like a physical store, usually they limit you to 1 or 2 boxes of ammo per person per day. So it's not really possible for someone to go out and buy 100 boxes of ammunition or just clear off the shelves of what they have, because there are restrictions in place to make sure that people don't do that. And, it's there for multiple reasons. I mean, if someone walked in there and just bought 100 boxes of ammo and that's all the store had, then no one else would have any ammo, and that just wouldn't be fair. So that's why they do that. Now, it is possible for someone to go to multiple stores and pick it up, but even if you're picking up 2 boxes from, let's say you drive around all day, spend $50 in gas, and you're going, hundreds of miles to all these different stores to pick up, maybe let's say you end up with 20 boxes of ammo. So, you spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and, 20 boxes of ammo is nothing compared to the hundreds of boxes of ammo that all these stores have. So, yes, it might seem like one person gets a lot of ammo, but in the vast majority, when you look at all these stores, it's really not that much. It's not like they hurt all these stores. And I think the biggest reason that hoarders get so much crap is because anytime someone has something that you want and they rub it in your face, it's always going to make people mad. So when they go and get 10, 20 boxes of ammo and throw it online and say, hey, look what I got, automatically people are going to be pissed and be like, oh, look at that guy's just hoarding all this, he doesn't need all that. And, it's just going to piss people off, and they're going to automatically assume, well, no wonder I can't find any. Look at that, this guy's got it all right there. Which, if he bought it all from one store, then yes, maybe he did buy that store out. But like I said, the way these checks work, where you're only allowed to buy 1 or 2 boxes, no, he didn't rob one store out of all their ammo. Unless he was a real jerk and he, grabbed all his friends and family and made them all go buy this and then give it to him in the end anyways, then yeah, maybe he kind of screwed over his store a little bit there. But, that's only a few people out there that are going to do stuff like that. It's just, there's not a lot of ammo out there, so it's really hard to find it. And then some of these people start learning these schedules, and it makes it look like they're stealing all this ammo, but they're just kind of gaming the system. So what I want to talk about now, since I've dispelled a couple of the myths behind it, is what's really happening. If you look at this graph here, you'll see that there are now more shooters than ever before. And when there's more shooters, that means there's going to be more demand for ammunition. And since, times are still recovering a little bit, times are still a little bit tough, people don't have a ton of money to spend. So when they see the prices of ammunition, 22 is a very cheap round, which means you can shoot more of it. And it's just, something that you could go to the range and easily blow off a few hundred rounds without breaking the bank. But if you look at this graph, you'll see that from 2000 to 2012, the number of background checks went from 8 million to 16 million. So that means the number of possible guns sold in the last 12 years has doubled. Now, unless the size of our ammunition manufacturers has doubled as well, then they may not be able to keep up with the current demand. One point I want to make is not too long ago, there was a huge trend in concealed pistol sales. And a lot of those were in the .380 caliber. So for the longest time, I would go into many, many stores and no one would have any .380 ammo. It was almost as impossible to find as .22. Now that the gun sales on the .380 has gone down, it's actually possible to go into stores now and find it. So now I'm able to walk into, most stores and see .380 ammo sitting on the shelf, whereas, a couple years ago, I wasn't able to because the demand was so high. So, as the demand goes up, there's going to be more people buying it, and it means that unless the manufacturers are increasing their size of their actual assembly plants and machinery, which is very expensive, then they're not going to be able to keep up with that demand. So as I was saying about the price, you can shoot a lot more .22 ammo than you could any other caliber. And that is attractive to a lot of, beginner gun enthusiasts and even those who just want to go out and have fun. Most gun manufacturers now make a full-size replica of virtually pretty much most guns now in a .22 form. That way people can go to the range with them and practice with it, get familiar with the size, the weight, and everything like that, while only spending pennies to shoot each round off rather than, 30, 40, 50 cents per round. So that, again, has added to the overall demand for .22 because now people have, both their 40 caliber and their 45 caliber pistols or, whatever version they have. And even like the ARs have 22 model as well. So instead of practicing with the expensive 223, 556, or 762 ammo, people are practicing with the 22 ammo since everything feels the same. They've got the same magazine style and everything. So it all kind of adds up together. And if you look at the prices, you could shoot 1,000 rounds of 223 if you get it for an excellent price, for about $300. And if you compare that to 1,000 rounds of 22, it's only going to cost you about $60. So you're talking about a fifth the price of the ammo to shoot the 22 versus the 223. And there's comparisons. You could add whatever ammo type you want in there, and it's just there's always going to be that big difference, and that's why 22 is so attractive to a lot of people. So again, like I said, this is just adding to the demand for the 22. Now, here's I think where the real shortage and all these myths kind of come into play. I think this is the real background as to where this whole thing comes from. And the biggest thing is that the shortage that everyone sees is actually just a perceived shortage. There really is no shortage. It's perceived that way because people don't see it. And what I mean by that is when you don't see something, you think that it's gone. It's either, hard to get, or, they're taking it away or something like that. And people start getting fearful. They don't know why they can't find it. And, it starts bugging them. So they try to, figure it out on their own. Oh, it must be this. Oh, it must be that. And, one example that I'd like to use is, years ago when the Nintendo Wii first came out, I think for the first year, you couldn't see that thing on any store shelves. It was just either Nintendo wasn't releasing enough of them, or they weren't able to keep up with the demand. But for the first year, you would not see those things on any store shelves. And what that caused is an inflation in the price. And I'm not talking about the storefronts. I'm talking about the people who noticed that, people wanted the Nintendo Wii. And what they would do is they would find out when the stores got their shipments, and they would go there and they would buy one or whatever the limit is. And then they would go immediately turn it around and sell it online. So they were buying a system for $300, and they would go online and sell it for $500 or $600. So what this caused is a lot of people to see that, these Nintendo Wiis were selling for double their cost, and immediately people's eyes lit up with little dollar signs, and they said, oh, wow, I can do the same exact thing. I'm going to go buy a Nintendo Wii when my store gets it in, and I'm going to go through it online, and I'm going to make double my money. And that leads to more people doing that, and the next thing you know, people are only buying these things just to sell it online. Now, the reason I talk about that is because if you look at 22 ammunition, you can go online and you can do a search for 22 ammunition, and you will find sites that list it for double, if not even triple, the price that it should be at. And they're selling them all day like that because they know that there's a demand and people are not seeing it on the shelves, and they know that people want to buy it. So they're taking advantage of the whole situation, and they're doing just that. They will go to these stores and they will wait in line, and they will sell it online for double or triple the price just because they want to make a quick buck at the expense of, causing this unrationalized fear and perceived shortage. So, that's one of the biggest things. Anytime there's money to be made, people will try to take advantage of it. And I think that's the biggest problem. For example, again, just the other day, I went to Gander Mountain. I recently had a surgery, and I was off work for a couple weeks. And towards the end of my second week, I was able to get to Gander Mountain when the store opened. And the store opened at 9 o'clock, and I think I pulled in the parking lot at like 9:02, 9:03. And by the time I got inside the store, there was already at least 20 or 25 people lined up at the cash register waiting to buy 22 ammunition. And it was just amazing. You'd think that, something crazy was going on. It was some crazy deal, but it was just, basically all these people were in line and they were waiting to get their ammunition. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gander Mountain has a thing where if you have their credit card and you use their credit card, you can buy double the ammunition. So instead of being limited to one box of 512 or 525 or whatever it is, you can buy 2 boxes. And everyone in the line, except for me, knew about this. So they all get up there and they all get their 2 boxes of ammunition. And by the time I get through to the line, they had just a little bit of Remington Golden Bullet left, and they had like a Federal 225 pack or something like that. And so my point being, I was in the store probably for like a half hour or maybe even like 15, 20 minutes total. And by the time I got to my turn, the ammunition was pretty much sold out. So they got their truck that morning and they sold out within a half hour, which means everyone else from the rest of the day forward, for the rest of the week for that matter, when they get to Gander Mountain, they're not going to have any ammunition. And for them, now that's going to show that there's no ammunition, and it's going to add to this perceived shortage. So even though there's really not a shortage, these stores are getting this ammunition in. People are lining up to get it so that when you get off work Friday or even on Saturday, if you want to run up to the store, you get to the store and you see that they have no 22. Well, week after week after week of everyone buying it right when they open, you see that there's no 22, no 22, no 22. And all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, there's no 22 at all. This store doesn't get 22. What's going on? Where's all the 22 at? Well, in reality, they are getting 22. They're getting 22 every week. It's just you've got these people that know how to take advantage of the system, and they just get there super early and they just take it all before you see it. And like I said, when people can't see something, they think it's gone and they think that they have to have it. So then you end up with people who are just buying 22 ammo because they just want to have it. They don't necessarily need it. They might not even really know what it is, but they hear everyone talking about 22 and how impossible it is to find. So when you see it, they're like, oh, 22, yeah, I'll take that. Even if they're just going to let it sit in their closet for the next 20 years and never use it. That's, it's up to you what you're going to use it for. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to go out and buy as much ammo as you want, but at the same time, it makes it a lot harder when everyone is trying to do the exact same thing. So I think with everything that I've talked about, it's really not a government conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy or shortage from the manufacturers, and it's not hoarders that are taking it all. It's just a bunch of all these factors put together. The fact that the number of background checks has doubled means that there's a lot more shooters out today than there were, 12, 14 years ago. And same thing with the price of ammo. The price of ammo keeps going up, yet 22, when you can find it at a decent price, still remains relatively low. So when people see it, they want to buy it. And same thing with the different versions of guns. Everything comes in a 22 version now because everyone wants to practice for cheap and not waste all their good ammo. So all these factors added together just means that there's a ton of supply or a ton of demand for 22, and the manufacturers just cannot keep up with the demand. I mean, they're trying their hardest. They're working 24 hours a day, pumping out millions of rounds a day. And no matter what they do, they just can't keep up with it. So unless they go ahead and double the size of their facilities, then they're not going to keep up. And like I said, for them, that's too much of a business risk because, if things slow down, then they're going to lose a lot of money as well. So that's my thoughts behind the whole shortage. So really, it's not that there's a major shortage because of any government involvement or anything like that. It's people want it. And when they find it, they're buying it just because they can buy it, not because they're going out to the range that day. Some people probably do. So there's probably some people out there that, go to the range, try to pick up a box and, they try to use that. But for the most part, I think people are just buying it just so they can have it in case they go to the range and stuff like that too. So, I mean, there is a lot more stockpiling of it, and I kind of don't blame people because it is hard to find. I have a lot of friends that like to go to the range, and I like to go to the range myself, but when you can't find ammo, it is frustrating. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was basically how to get 22 ammo. And this is something that, it's not going to work for everybody because everyone's going to have different schedules and stuff, but this is, how I've been able to try and find ammo when I can. And basically, there's a few different things that you can do. And the first one that you can do is basically, sign up for websites that send out email alerts when certain ammunition gets in stock. And what you can do is set up little alerts. It'll let you enter the price per round, or however you want to set it up like that. And it'll send you an email alert as soon as it comes in stock. Now, being the internet and that everyone has access to it at the same time, there's going to be a lot of competition out there. So if an email comes in for ammo, you need to be able to buy it, I'd say, within 5 to 10 minutes. Because I've seen stores that have thousands of packs in stock, and it gets sold out within a half hour. And most of the time, they don't get thousands of packs in. They might get a few hundred, which can sell out in minutes. So when you get these email alerts, you have to be quick. So that's one option. A second option would be to go to your local stores like Walmart or Gander Mountain or stuff like that and find out which days their trucks come in. And I'm not saying that you should go camp out in front of the store and get in line for it. I mean, if you really need 22 ammunition, you can try that. But I really don't recommend it. I just did it the one day because I was more curious to see what it would be like. And like I said, when I saw the 25 people in there, and I thought I was getting there, I'm like, it's 9:02. There shouldn't really be anyone here, but there was already 25 people in line. It was more of like a social experiment for me to see what was really going on. And but yeah, I'm not saying to go and camp like that, but I'm saying what you could do is find out what day these stores get their shipments in, and then go to the store that day. So like, when you get off work on a Friday, go by the store or whatever day it is and just see if they have it. That way you're not adding to the problem of hoarding it the second it comes in. If it's there and you need it, pick it up. If not, at least you can check again next week. And same thing with your local gun shops. Make sure to visit them as well. The more attention and business that they get, the better pricing they can give you guys. And the more you shop at a local gun store, you're more likely to make friends with the people that work there. If you're in there a lot, if you're shooting there, if you buy from them a lot, they might get to know you. You could even try to leave your phone number for when they do get ammo in so they can call you. And, it might work out better in your favor. I always like supporting local stores just because it is hard to compete with some of these bigger chain stores. So anything I can do to help push back to the little guys definitely is something I always try to do. So that's another one. And if all else fails, if you really can't find 22 and you really want to go shooting, then I would recommend getting a bigger caliber than 22. I would say go out and buy a 9mm because you can buy a 9mm all day online for 20 cents a round. And even though it is more expensive than the 8 cents a round for 22, you can find it and you can actually shoot it, and it is a better self-defense round than a 22. So you can always go buy a bigger caliber. If you can afford it, then I would just say do that. And overall, preppers need choices in ammunition and weapons anyways, so if you limit yourself to only one gun or one type of ammo, then that may not work out in your best interest. So since my channel is about prepping as well, I like to think of the bigger picture. So when it comes to buying that stuff, if you can't find 22 and you still want to have ammo, then buy a different gun. Like I said, 9mm is not that much more expensive. It is still 2 to 3 times the price depending on what you can buy it for, but at the same time, you can buy it. You can walk into pretty much most stores and buy 9mm ammo, but you're never really going to find 22 right now, at least until things calm down a little bit. And, I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it clears up a few things for you. And I think that once we get over the mindset that there is not really any conspiracies going on with 22, it's just the demand, I think that will help a lot. And I think right now, like I said, people are they're seeing that you can't find 22 anywhere, and they're thinking that, there's something going on. So when they find it, they just buy it all, or as much as they can. And like I said, the problem with that is it makes it look like there's none because there's never any on the shelves. But like I said, it's all perceived. There's ammo, it's getting made. It's just people are getting so nervous about it that they buy it as soon as they can. And that's all adding up to the supply and demand factors I talked about earlier. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of my points, and if you guys have any other points or conspiracies or myths or anything that you want to talk about in the comments. If you like my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will be back soon with more videos. So thank you for watching, or listening rather, and yeah, I will see you guys soon.